Dear child of God, how y'all doing today? Let me do that. Boom. You see it? You see it. What's going on, everybody? It's been a while. Um, I definitely been, just putting in work and working on myself, but working on important things in life that men should work on. You know what I mean? And also just studying the Word of God right now. You know what I mean? Studying the Word of God and praying. And things are real shaky in the United States, so just gotta keep my foundation with the Lord so that I don't shake with the shakes. You feel what I'm saying? But let's get into these topics though. Look at that guy. See them? You see these guys? I know you see these guys behind me. Look at me sitting in between the Trump. Um, yeah, this guy. Let me see. Can you see my hand? This guy and this guy. Yo, stranger than strange. Um, we watched the president of the United States say we're not bringing somebody back that the Supreme Court, the highest court in the land, instructed the president to bring back Abrego Garcia. I think that's his name, Abrego Garcia. And Trump brings the president of El Salvador, who has the power to release this person, Abrego. But both of them basically said, their hands is up like this. Like, I mean, what can I do? And so the president of, of El Salvador, he's like, what do you want me to smuggle? What do you want me to smuggle him into the United States? It's like smuggle. What? Why would you smuggle? Why would you need to smuggle um when all you have to do is release him and facilitate him getting on a plane that the United States is supposed to facilitate and bring him back to America? And so you got all this strange stuff going on right now. With the tariffs and the tariff war with China, right? That's not today's topic, but there's just a lot of strange things going on that really can decide Americans' future, right? But this guy here and this guy here are basically saying we're not bringing Abrigo back, even though the highest court in the land said to bring him back, the Supreme Court. But this is important, family, because what Trump administration is trying to do is they're trying to set precedent that, hey, I'll deport all of you suckers, even if you're U.S. citizens. We watched Trump say, oh, I'm going to just start deporting U.S. citizens to El Salvador. Hey, President of El Salvador, can you build some more of those prisons that you got down there? You know what I mean? And I'm like, what? Like, this completely goes against the Constitution of the United States. Now, Trump is like, yeah, I mean, if you hitting people over the head with hitting old ladies over the head and all these things, and I'm like, yeah, I mean, those people should be locked up, but do they need to be deported? You know, Trump basically, if you get on Trump's nerves, like the lady who was from CNN, she was asking him the questions, right? And so, if you get on Trump's nerves, you might get deported. I don't care how long you've had a United States citizenship. I don't care if your birth certificate is from this country of America. We're deporting you just cause. I don't like Nancy Pelosi. I'm being Trump. I don't like Nancy Pelosi. Deport her to an El Salvador prison. And here's the thing, everybody, like, you possibly might get turned into a new slave. El Salvador doesn't have the same laws, obviously, that we have in America. Who knows what they're going to do with those prisoners down there? You know what I mean? Right now, they're locked up, but next thing you know, they're doing slave work for free. Whoa, whoa. We got to be careful. Where the United States is going right now, we got to be very, very, very careful. And lottie dottie, everybody, as my godmother would say, everybody needs to be in the streets. Everybody needs to be in the streets right now, uproaring. You know, like this is serious business. This is serious. This is why I'm going to become a lawyer because I would be constitutionally fighting this. Right? Like this is a constitutional issue. And the Trump administration should not be allowed to get away with this. The United States Supreme Court, the highest court in the land, right? This is why we have three branches of governmental power, right, that check each other, right? So that one branch can't get out of pocket. And basically the executive branch is out of line. And you know, this is going to set a precedent. This is going to set a model. Like, if we can get away with, and look at this guy, the president of El Salvador. He just like, yeah, what do you want me to smuggle him? This somebody needs to smack this guy. What do you mean smuggle? You're the president of El Salvador. The lady's like, you could just release him. Yeah, but I don't want to release criminals into El Salvador. We just cleaned up El Salvador. Whoa, whoa, whoa. Bro, listen. The president of the United States, I'm glad, thank you, YouTube, for doing my job, doing your job and blocking these idiots, trying these demons. Thank you, YouTube. The president of El Salvador is like, what do you want me to smuggle him? What? Dude, all you got to do is pull him out of the jail, one person. We're going to send the Delta Force or Navy SEAL. I don't know who you send. We're going to send some people in a plane and bring him back. What? How hard is that? He's like, what do you want me to smuggle him into the United States? Dog, like the idiocracy, it makes my head hurt. It's just idiots, dog. Idiots. you know, and and I like a lot of the things that Trump is doing, cleaning up our budgeting and all that type of stuff, getting rid of things that we don't need. Good, good. But this is ridiculous. And I'm telling you, Trump said no. He's like, I can't force another country to release somebody. And you got the dude sitting next to you who has the power to release the person. So now we have to think about something. We got to say to ourselves, what kind of deal did the United States government make with El Salvador, right? What kind of plans does the United States government have with El Salvador? We got to really think about that and say to ourselves, oh, no, everybody, lottie dottie, I don't care what color you are, needs to be in the streets. And it's not even that we're fighting for Abrego. It's that we're fighting for United States citizens, dog. Bro, we can't just let this type of stuff happen. He needs to come home because it needs to set precedent that the president of the United States can get G-checked by the Supreme Court. Like what? I'm telling you, family, this is very, very troubling. And we need to be in the streets right now fighting the power. Oh, it's breezy out here. It's breezy. We need to be in the streets fighting this particular matter. What do I mean by fighting? Well, combating. We don't need to tear stuff up. You know what I mean? We don't need to set nothing on fire, right? But we need to be protesting. We need to let the president of the United States know, like, hey, and based on how you feel, Like, look, you're doing some good things. You're doing some awful things though too. Like, and you need to cut it out. Now, one thing I can say about Trump is he's doing exactly what he told people he was going to do. And you really can't be mad at that, right? He said he was going to do a lot of things, and he's doing a lot of the things that he said that he was going to do. You know what I mean? Kudos for that. But this is not one of those things that needs to be done because when you start, you deport this person, okay? And they got all this evidence that he is a part of Marasucha uh 13, right? He's a part of MS-13. But so are a lot of other people that are not even El Salvadorian. You know, there's that network. Like, look, um, Cash Patel, right? Him and the that woman, the lawyer lady, right? I forgot her name. They arrested a 24-year-old supposedly head commander of MS-13. I'm like, bro, y'all are silly. Like, yeah, he might have rank, but guaranteed he's not calling shots like that. You know what I mean? These are the OGs are calling the shots, right? The OGs of that criminal organization is calling the shots, right? He might be a shot caller at a young age. I don't know, but he's not like one of the heads of the organization. Like these people are annoying with their idiocracies, bro, on and their injustices, right? But again, this says president, right? Because again, President Trump is saying, "Oh, if you do these types of actions, we possibly might send you to El Salvador. You know what I mean? We'll just kick you out the country." And I bring up the Carmelo Anthony case because, he self-defended himself and it was very violent self-defense. Now, is it really self-defense? And I did a video on it. It has a lot of views. I spoke about how I feel. I don't want to make this a court of public opinion. This is a very serious matter and it can really turn racial, right? There's a lot of racial tension already within the United States, and this matter doesn't make it any better, right? But, let's hypothetically say that Carmelo is convicted. Hypothetically, I don't think he's going to get convicted. I don't really know. I don't want to comment really, but I'm just saying, hypothetically, he gets convicted, right? Duh. Yo, what if Trump just decides and says, we got to deport Mr. Anthony because this violent crime and everything? We gotta stop this nonsense. We gotta set president and let our president know, like, look, because he is our president right now. We gotta let him know, like, look, this is not cool. We're not with this shit. You know what I mean? Like you just want to start deporting people who are United States citizens. And I get it. He wants to deport people of violent crimes and things like that. I talked to a white American citizen yesterday, and she's like, yeah, lock these people up, but don't deport them. Hey, you know, this is serious business. And I think a lot of people are not taking it seriously. A lot of people are just wandering around, living their lives, going to work, paying their bills, trying to keep up with the Joneses, right, of the American society, right? But while you're just living in your comfortability, the president of the United States and presidents in other countries are plotting on you. They're plotting on you, bro, sis. Like, and eventually, like, if Trump gets away with this, who knows what he'll get away with? Who effing knows what he'll be able to get away with, right? President Trump himself is literally getting away with murder right now. Now, like I said, the Supreme Court, the highest court in the land, said bring him back. And now you got the El Salvadorian president like, what do you want me to do? I don't even know how to talk in the Spanish lingo, but I'm a pretend. What do you want me to do? I don't know why am I fixing my face like that? What do you like? He's like, what do you want me to smuggle him into the United States? Bro, this is a no-brainer. Like it's idiocracy. And they're playing a sick game. You have the power, Mr. President of El Salvador. Release him by himself. He doesn't have to be released into your country. We want him back per orders of the Supreme Court. We want him back per the order of the Supreme Court, the highest court in the land. Okay? We want him back. Put him on a jet plane. We're going to provide you with the jet plane, fly his ass back over here, and land his ass back in Maryland. Like, how hard is that? He's like, what do you want me to do? You want me to smuggle him into the United States? Like, come on, dog. This don't even make sense. And you're playing a delicate, delicate game, Mr. President. Mr. President. Like, you're playing a delicate game. You're playing a delicate game. Like, and it's a sick game. He calls other people sick, but this is sick because what do you want? Eventually, you want to start just deporting American citizens who were born on this soil, you know? And then they're going to start creating things like, oh, this is why you got too much debt, United States. We're going to deport you. I don't know. They're just going to start making up stuff. Oh God, I don't know who this is, but one thing for sure, two things for certain. We can't allow you to speak in your language because I don't understand your language and I don't know what you're saying. And I gotta remove those type of comments. Now, if you want to speak in English, when you write a comment, do so as long as it's respectful. Here we go. See, now I gotta just uh. I love to block these demons. I love to take y'all to the block party and get y'all right up out of here. But I mean, I'm not calling that brother a demon. I don't know. But please write in English. I live in America. I don't speak any other language. If you write in Spanish, I could read Spanish, but don't write in any other language that I don't know how to speak. One, I'm not Googling it, and two, why would you put that and nobody can understand it? You know what I'm saying? This is America, dog. I don't live in this country or that country. I live in America. People speak Spanish here. People speak all languages here, but I don't. We mostly speak English, so I don't know what you're writing. Greek, Arabic. I don't speak that. I don't know what you're saying in your language, right? So it's possibly more than likely disrespectful. Get it out of here. Get it out. Get that out of here. As Stale Cracker would say. Get it out of here. I like Stale Cracker. He's a really good chef. Check out Stale Cracker on YouTube. Spelled like it sounds. But yeah, bro, what are we doing? Like the Trumper is doing too much. This is where I have to draw my line with the Trump. You know what I mean? Because I'm like, bro, you can't go against the Supreme Court. And then there was a reporter who asked him like the Supreme Court said, this and that. He's like, if the Supreme Court said that, I'm going to do it. And then does a press conference turning his back on the Supreme Court. And then got his man, the bald guy. I forgot the bald guy's name. I don't even the lawyer guy, the bald guy. He's like, yeah, such and such, babble, 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 babble. And I'm like, bro, shut up and sit your down, right? Because the Supreme Court already told you, bring him back. And the president has the power to do that. You're sitting next to the president of El Salvador. talking about, I mean, I can't force somebody from another country to let somebody go that you sent over there mistakenly. And maybe it did happen mistakenly, but like, yo, but what is gonna happen, what's gonna have to happen now, and send this video and retweet this video. I know I don't usually say stuff like that, but like share this video to the people in El Salvador, to somebody who speaks English there, and let them know this is what's gonna have to happen. We're gonna have the people of El Salvador get in the streets and fight for Abrigo. We're going to need you to get in the streets in El Salvador, El Salvadorians, and fight for Abrigo, that the president of El Salvador release him so that the United States of America can facilitate his return home. And not that this is even his home, basically, he wasn't a citizen. I get it. But I mean, again, our Supreme Court has issued an order and it needs to be followed, right? And so this is important American history now. We're setting, this is American history. So the Supreme Court already put out an order. How do you enforce? How does the Supreme Court enforce the order now? Being that the Trump and the president of El Salvador is like, everybody's like, I don't know, I can't, my hands is off. How do you how do you enforce the Supreme Court? Excuse me, I feel like I gotta sneeze. It's high pollen, but I don't got allergies, but it's the pollen. But yeah, like this is crazy. And I'm just like, yo, so we're just going to let this happen. This is America. Like we cannot allow this to happen. You know, I'm not in those circles right now where I can formulate protests and stuff like that, right? And what do protests really do? Uh, I mean, they allow you to express your emotional state. That's what protests do. They allow you to express your emotional state. But this is why we need the lawyers. Where are the Latino lawyers, American lawyers, citizens? Why are y'all not fighting, combating the Trump administration? There has got to be ways to combat what's going on right now. Poor Abrigo, you know, and I don't know. They say he's a part of MS-13. I mean, I don't know. They say that he is, that he's not. I don't know. I don't know. I don't know. I don't trust them. I don't trust them. And what needs to happen right now is uh we gotta set precedent. We gotta bring our Brigo home, number one, and we gotta establish laws. We gotta push for laws within our local and within our state, within our congressional, the House and the Senate. We gotta establish a law that says, yo, you can't just deport American citizens. Not that Abrigo was an American citizen, right? But Trump is using this as a catalyst to say, I might just deport American citizens. Hey, I don't like you. I'm gonna deport you just because I have the power to. What? Now Trump is saying, oh, if you're doing violent crimes and these violent crimes, we're just gonna send you to El Salvador. What kind of business deal do we have with El Salvador that they're sitting down with the Trump? Like, hey, can you build some more prisons? We're gonna send some more people there soon. What? We're gonna be sending American citizens there. Huh? Yo, I don't care what people did in America. Put their ass in an American prison if they're American citizens. We can't just be deporting people. because that sets some type of precedent where you're like, oh yeah, we'll just deport you because I don't like what you said, or I don't like the news reporter again from CNN. Trump just kept saying, I don't like you. You're annoying. Why do you keep talking? Hi, Shayla. I don't know if you agree with me on this topic, Shayla, but I don't think it's okay for the president to disobey the Supreme Court, who's there to create checks and balances. You feel me? I don't think it's okay. They said bring Abrego back, bring Mr. Garcia back. Okay? He's not an American citizen. However, the highest court in the land said bring his ass back. So bring his ass back. Because one thing for sure, two things for certain, you're not about to sit here and threaten us American citizens with deportation. Because one thing, and I put poor Mr. Carmelo Anthony's name in the title too, because he commit. Trump is talking about, oh, if you do a violent crime, we might just deport you to El Salvador. You know, and praise God. I don't want to be the court of public opinion, but hypothetically, he gets convicted. Hypothetically, I hope he doesn't get convicted. I hope that it is self-defense. I pray for both of the families though, because you know Metcalf's family is going through turmoil. They lost a son violently through more than likely impossible self-defense. I don't know I know some of the blacks, but we can't really comment on that because we got to let that play out in the court of law. We got to let that play out. But let's just say he gets convicted, and let's just say they decide to deport him. Let's just say they decide to deport any American citizen with a violent crime or a violent past or a gang past or drug dealing past. Like, what happened to uh reformation and reforming and rebuilding, right, these citizens, right? What happened to forgiveness and giving them a second chance? That narrative, right? Well, she got the bacons on, but them joints are like that. Hey y'all, what's up? How y'all doing? The sneakers. I ain't seen those. Yeah, I had to shout out to the sister because she was out here looking fresh in the bacons. Them bacons got that purple, yellowish, red, orange on it. I like those. Those are fresh. I had to shout the sister out. But what are we doing, family? We should be standing up to this nonsense. I know I ain't been up here for a while. I ain't been up here for a while because I have to do another live about why. The enemy attacked me in my dreams and threatened me. But I'll do another live about that. And I don't really want to tell you what he threatened me with, but I got threatened because my channel is going up now, and the enemy came to me in a long ass dream. Excuse my language, in a long dream, and threatened me. And I was just like, wow, I had to take a break. But I'm going to resist the enemy, and he shall flee. I'm in my word. I'm prayed up, praising the Lord like Paul and Silas. Okay, out of Acts. Okay, and the Lord will send an angel of the Lord, and I'm just praying for protection because as I continue to minister and preach the word of God in reality, and I talk about these types of topics on virtual reality, the enemy's not going to be happy, you know. But anywho, we got to stop this madness. This is complete, utterly madness, and it should not be going on. We got to fight the powers that be, and I don't mean violently. I mean through a court of law, just how the Trump administration is fighting it through a court of law with his many of lawyers. We need to put a team of lawyers. Where are you Latino lawyers Y'all are supposed to be fighting for Abrigo, or y'all too busy trying to become part of white society. See, that is the problem with the Latino community. Y'all too busy trying to assimilate into white society, right? Because y'all want to be white, because y'all want to be connected to your uh European ancestry, but y'all not European. Y'all are indigenous, especially the ones that come from Mexico and down, right? Y'all indigenous. Y'all not European. Y'all indigenous blood is stronger, right? That's why y'all brown, because the indigenous there were brown people. But where are our Latino lawyers to fight for Abrigo, to stand up for Abrigo? The Supreme Court has issued out an order. Where are the Latino lawyers going to bat constitutionally for Abrigo? I don't hear y'all and I don't see y'all because y'all are probably too busy assimilating into white society. And this particular subject matter is going to end up falling on the black community, and we're going to end up standing on business as we always do, combating, right? How we're standing on business with the brother Anthony. And again, I don't want to go too far into that because I really don't know how that case is going to turn out, and I don't want to be presumptuous. Um, I just know that self-defense is a real thing, and it's presumed that he's self-defending himself. I talked about this already, but like I said, hypothetically, he get convicted. And what are we going to do about that? Are we going to allow the Trump administration to deport our good brother just because I say good brother because he's a good brother. He has a good record. This is his first anything in life. But are we going to just allow hypothetically the Trump administration to depart ways and deport our brother? No, we're not. What if he tries to do that inside the black community? We're gonna stand on big business, and we're gonna see who really in the community gonna stand on business. Let's just say hypothetically, the Trump administration starts trying to deport black folks, because that's what I see coming down the line. I see that like, okay, we're gonna deport Abrigo. We're not gonna listen to the Supreme Court. I can't force another country and this other country. All right, what do you want me to do? Smuggle him? And then next thing you know, oh, we're gonna deport people with violent crimes that are U.S. citizens. Oh, next thing you know, oh, we're gonna start deporting black folks. Oh, we're gonna start deporting this nationality and this nationality and this nationality, and we're gonna send them to El Salvador. Now, people might say, looking at this, oh, you're overthinking it. You're going too far ahead. No, 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 no. I'm right where we need to be because this is setting a precedent. See, this type of stuff, these type of decisions that the Trump is playing with starts civil war. This is the type of thing that will start a civil war. You feel what I'm saying? We gotta be cognitive about what's going on. People might say, "Well, why don't you fight for Abrigo and this and that?" Well, look, I'm not involved with the Latino community like that. I don't know how to get the Latino community's favor to, one, we do need to protest. The Latino American citizens need to protest. They need to surround the White House legally, right? Legally surround that White House and protest, consistently. It can't just be one day of protest. You're going to have to do 7 days worth of protest. You're going to have to pull a move out the Bible, a strategy out the Bible, like Jericho. You're gonna have to stomp the yard uh, and protest the White House. Come on, Latinos, y'all want to be American citizens? Where you at? I don't. Where y'all at? Where are your lawyers? Right? Y'all want to be American citizens, Latinos? Where you at? I don't see you. We don't see you out here. You know. But see, I'm going to say something about this because this is super borderline crazy. No, it's crazy. But this is super borderline. Like you're playing a you running on thin ice right now. You playing a catch 20 through two, a slippery slope, President Trump. You really playing games. Like we can't allow you to have that type of power. This is dictatorial power where you can just deport people and send them to another country and just forget about them and they just be left. The people of the United States, our Supreme Court said bring him back. And he's not even a citizen, but we said bring him back. The people, the Supreme Court said bring him back. And this guy right here said, no, I can't force another country to release him. And this guy right here, he's like, what do you want me to do? Smuggle him into the United States? Whoa, whoa. I'm telling you, family, like this is what I do. I sit in the law library and I study things that, run through my mind and stuff. And this is why I think that's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna probably go into constitutional law because we need to be able to fight the power. We need to be able to stand up to these types of powers that run around here. I don't know what's up with the devil is moving today. Every time I'm speaking about something, he wants to send me 1,000 messages all of a sudden. Nobody was sending me messages, not even promotional messages. But as soon as I get to speaking about something important, message, 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 message. This is how the devil do. He try to distract you, right? But this is what I'm saying. This is highly important, family. I need you to wake it up. I need you to wake it up. This needs to be shared, share, 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 share. Um, we need to really consider what this guy's doing, the orange man, as they say. We got to consider like what he doing. You know what I mean? And how far are you gonna take this, President Trump? Like we not even 3 months. Are we 3 months in? Let me see. It's April. We're 4 months in. Almost 5 months, right? January, February, March, April. Yeah, we're 4 months into his presidency, and he's been shaking it up. And some of the things as he should shake it up. The tariffs on China, some of that I agree with. Some of that I understand. Like China's basically put themselves in a position of power, and we put ourselves in a position of not power internationally. But that's another subject for another time. But still, I understand that. Recalibrating our financial system, I understand that. But deporting people and disobeying the Supreme Court, the highest court in the land, nah, bruh, we gotta cut that. We gotta cut it, cut it, cut it, cut it, cut it, cut it. We gotta OT Genesis and cut it. Like that's not working. We gotta be very, very careful right now, citizens of the United States, because these types of decisions that Donald Trump is making can and will cause civil war, right? Because we don't all agree with these types of things that he's talking about. But like these specific things where he's threatening to deport United States citizens, I get it. They have violent crimes. I get it. But I even talked to a white American citizen just last night, and she's like, yeah, lock their asses up. Lock their asses up. I wish I could do like the mimicking thing. She's like, yeah, lock their asses up, but don't deport them. Like, that's a lot, bro. Got to be very, very careful. We got to tread lightly. This is, I'm telling you, family, this is scary. When we allow our president to have these types of powers, even though we have checks and balances, and all of a sudden he could just, this is what I'm saying, this is where it's going. If he gets away with this, I don't know what kind of business deals they got with El Salvador, but if he gets away with this, what's going to happen next? Next thing you know, yeah, deport anybody. I don't care if they're American citizens. And then you got this Trump gold card where you're basically selling citizenship. $5 million, I make you a citizen. And then where is that money going? The 5 million. Where's that money going? Like, okay, yeah, you created the Trump Gold Card, and you want to give people ability to just buy citizenship, right? Where the hell that money going? Like, what are you funding with that $5 million? You know, how many people you letting in here with who can afford that anyways, but people of super substantial wealth, right? But like, where, what do you, what? If that's the case, you need to make it and this is not my idea. This comes from Shahid Bolson, a Muslim cat who I like and respect for his ideology. But like, if you're gonna just sell American citizenship at the highest bidder, then American citizens need to be allowed to sell their citizenship, right? We should be able to sell our citizenship for the highest bidder, right? And then we can get the hell out of the America, right? Not that I want to leave America. I'm just saying, like, you want to sell American citizenship to the highest bidder, pretty much, right? But then Americans should be able to sell their citizenship, right? And make money off of it and go wherever they please, right? You know, um, I was telling my girlfriend when I make her my wife, you know what I'm saying? Um, I was telling my girlfriend when I make her my wife, you know, we're gonna probably move to the islands, you know what I mean? So I can set my farm up and I could just be by the beach and I can go fishing and you know what I mean? I could do the things that I want to do, that how I want to live the rest of my life, my lifestyle. And she like, yeah, daddy, let's do that. She didn't say daddy. I added that for special effects. But for special effects, she was like, yeah, daddy, let's do that. And I was like, yeah, let's do that, baby. And so I was telling my girlfriend that. And so, I need some foundational money. You know what I mean? Let me go ahead and sell my citizenship to the highest bidder. You know what I mean? So I can buy my land and buy everything I need and be set up. You know what I'm saying? So you want to sell American citizenship, allow American citizens to sell their citizenship. But deporting American citizens, that's wrong. That's going against, and he's talking about it. He keeps talking about it. He's just talking about it, but he's talking about it. That means that they might be working on it. They might be working on it. Family, they might be ready to just deport anybody come down the line. You know what I mean? So we got to stand up to this. And I know people out there, well, what are you going to do about it? Like, okay, I'm trying to become a lawyer so I could fight constitutionally because if I was a lawyer, a constitutional lawyer, you're damn right I'd be fighting about it. Not just because I want to support Abrego, not just because I want to support the Latino community, but because I want to make sure I protect the Black community and other American citizens, right? Because we can't just be allowing dictatorship in our land where they could just say, "Halas with you, deport you." And then if you're going to deport people, why are you deporting them to El Salvador of all places, right? And you want to put them in the prison? And like, what kind of business deals? Again, what kind of business deals do you have with El Salvador that you're just ready to transport people down there and set them up in prisons? And what are they going to do with those people, right? Are y'all just going to house them in prisons, or y'all going to potentially turn them into slaves and have them doing slave labor, plantations? We got to be very, very careful. Remember, the people that voted for Donald Trump primarily, they voted for Donald Trump because they want to make America great again. They want to go back to the 19 this and that, right? And, we don't need to be fighting Jim Crow laws. We don't need to be fighting supremacy. We don't need to do that. What we do need to do is make sure that this land is the land of the home and home of the free, right? This is the land and home of the mighty, right? This is what our history in America was founded on, right? Freedom, the right to choose, right? For women, the right to control your uterus, right? I don't believe in abortion. I don't believe in abortion, no. I don't believe in abortion. You know, there's only one abortion that happened that I could have controlled. And as I've said before on many of my podcasts, I regret it. If I could go back in the past, I would have had that baby, and I would have had that baby, and I would have had to wife up the woman that I was with at the time. Although she didn't want to be wifed up, I would have. I mean, I can't force her to be wifed up if you don't want to be wifed up, but like I would have strongly urged her that we got to be together, and that we're just gonna have to populate the earth, me and you, because if you're pregnant, but I told my girlfriend now, like, I'm shooting the club up. So I'm letting you know, like, anytime we lay down, you become my wife. I'm shooting the club up. I'm not pulling out ever again because you're my girl, and you know what I mean. And we're just gonna have to populate the earth. You know what I mean. And she's with that, and I'm with that too, because I'm laying all foundation in her vessel, all the foundation, all, all the seeds. I'm laying foundation in her vessel. You know what I mean? And we progenerating, procreating. One, because we need to procreate in the world in general. We need to replicate ourselves. We're not replicating ourselves. We're losing people. They say there's too many people on Earth. That's hobby cobby. That's hogwash. Um, we need to procreate. You know, and things are just turning up, man, in the world. Everybody, things are turning up. So, what I like to say is that I'm praying for America that we wake up. But I don't mean just wake up and become woke. I mean like literally wake up and start getting to work, right? That we restructure how our kids are doing things, right? Because they need to, I mean, look, the reports just came out today that China is making it a thing, a curriculum that their children have to learn AI. I mean, China, they're not going all the way in the right direction, but they're going in the right direction. And we need to keep up as Americans. Like, we're falling too far behind. We don't need to be a world power no more. We need to balance the powers, but we don't need to be a world power. We need to mind our business and get back to the basics in America here. So that's pretty much my spill on this situation. I think it's a very dangerous situation. I think Trump is playing games, and he shouldn't even be allowed to play these types of games. He needs to be reprimanded. Even though, how do you reprimand the most powerful man in the United States, but possibly the world? I don't know, but the Supreme Court's ruling needs to be enforced, right? And I don't know how they're going to enforce it, because again, these types of subjects can lead to civil war, you know, and I don't know. I feel like I don't. I mean, I liked this guy from El Salvador, but now I gotta really rethink. Like, do I really like this guy? Because and look how he's dressed. What are you selling cocaine? What are you, a mobster? Look at this guy. I don't know, guys. I don't know. Anyways, I'm at my conclusion. We're almost an hour in uh, of me talking about this subject matter that's very important, and more people should be talking about it because this is dangerous. This is a very dangerous game that Donald Trump is playing. Like, this is something that the United States citizens, you need to wake up, and you need to stand up, because next thing you know, Trump becomes this dictator and he just starts. deporting people, United States citizens. Family, I'll never tell you to like or subscribe, but I appreciate if you like and subscribe. Um, it's your choice. Um, but whatever you choose, I thank you for whatever you do. You know, whether you like or don't like, whether you subscribe or don't subscribe, I appreciate the support. Um, if anything, make a donation to my PayPal, which is in. I should have put it in the description, but my PayPal is um, in my community section, and support me by contributing, whatever you do. So, lifestyle here, child of God. I appreciate y'all for tuning in and for the support. I'm very grateful. Thank you so much. Y'all have a great day. Peace.